Right here on the Tchefuncte River with Cajun Ray Miller. Now, Ray, you are known for your sockeye fishing on the Tchefuncte River and other rivers on the North Shore, but it's June, and I noticed you switching over to some other species of fish. Why don't you talk about a little bit about what you're doing?
I got asked that same question from another sockeye fisherman yesterday. The catfish start running in May and June. It's usually been in June, but this year it started in May, and we've been catching some really good numbers of catfish.
Yeah, you break it up.
So tide's going out a little bit. So we've been catching some really good numbers of catfish, and I didn't forget about the sockeye, but you know, I got several friends of mine that like to catch catfish. And when it's this easy, oh my gosh, let's go get some.
Yeah,
you know, put some meat in the freezer.
Absolutely.
And we've been catching them anywhere from 1 pound to 10 pounds. 3 weeks ago, I caught 2 of them. We weren't sockeye, we were sockeye fishing, and I caught 2 of them on my jig pole that weighed 10 pounds apiece. Wow. They were huge.
So is that your cue to?
That was my cue right there. Let's start looking, and I started getting in the deep channels and looking, and the catfish were stacked up during the spawn. And of course, Jim over in Lacombe, he came over with his family, and you know, but we've been doing quite well.
So the catfish, now you say June is the spawn. Is that pre-spawn? Is that
right now we're at post-spawn?
What's going on?
In May is when it really starts up.
Okay.
And then, so we're at the downside of it right now.
They're stocking up.
But they're still, yeah, they're
from
stocking
after
up.
the spawn.
From after the spawn.
So moving down into the deeper sections of the river.
Yeah, we were catching at the beginning of the spawn like 8 to 10 foot deep. We went last Thursday and Friday, caught 25 each day. We caught them 25 and 30, between 25 and 35 foot deep in 45 foot of water. So that's what we're going to focus on today.
That's all blue cats.
It's all blue channel cats.
Okay.
And we brought cut bait, we brought shrimp, and we brought green worms.
Green worms, okay.
They wouldn't touch the shrimp, they wouldn't look at the cut bait. We had cut up pork liver. But you drop a piece of worm, it was on fire.
Wow, okay.
Especially the green worm. You know how it makes that glow? And I don't know if that's it.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put one in front of them, oh, it was on.
Well, let's go. Crank up this motor and get on out of here. You want to add something about this bridge?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, 3 weeks ago, my nephew came in, and he's going to school at West Point.
Okay.
Smart kid, right? You know, Boudreaux, my brother-in-law, he wanted to go bass fishing. I said, no, we're going catfishing. Well, I want to take him bass fishing for 2 or 3 hours. I said, no, we're not going to bass fish for 2 or 3 hours to catch 3 or 4 fish. We're going catfishing. We put the boat in here at Highway 22 launch, turned on the motor, turned it off, put the trolling motor down, and we went on the other side of the pilings here in the middle of the channel.
Okay.
And we sat there, and we pitch out about 10 foot of line. Those fish, mind you, were between 8 and 10 foot deep. When your line would get taut, all you had to do is set the hook.
Really?
We sat here and caught 120 catfish right here, and only started the boat to put it back on the trailer.
No gas.
No
Can't
gas,
beat it.
nothing. We kept 50. We filled up this ice chest we have today. It was full. We filled up everything we had.
Wow.
And Jim went a few days later. He filled up his live well and his ice chest. You know, so we've been doing really well with catfish. So we're going to see if we can still find a few. Tim went yesterday and said they're still in that 45 foot of water. Okay. So we're going to go look at that spot where I left them Friday.
Let's go.
That's catfish. That right there. See all those white dots? That's all catfish. On this on both sides. And then 31 foot of water. We're starting to see some catfish right just before we get to the curve. And you're starting to see them.
Ray, I see this bulkhead here has just been fixed at Riverside Park. That's a good option too for those that want to fish.
People that want to fish on the bank. Yeah, it's cheap to get into the state park. Yeah. You know, and come and park right here and fish. And then there's a cleaning station on the opposite end of it. What we're doing, I got a little tray set up with a little ice pack in it, and we put the box of worms in there. We're using these green worms, and that's the focus today. It's going to catch some catfish using some green worms.
All right, what you rigged up with, right?
And let me show you here. It's real simple. A lot of people have different ways to do it. Here's my setup right here. I have a 1/4 ounce weight and a swivel to keep it from spinning too much. And then I have about 18 to 24 inch 20-pound test leader with a nice sharp catfish hook. And I put a little weight on here about 6-8 inches above. So when your weight goes down, it kind of pendles down, pendleton, and so that your bait will just drop in and do this on it. And it shortens the time for it to drop. But that's it, a real simple setup. That's all, not much to it. And we're gonna use 1/3 of a piece of worm. Those worms are really big. We can use a half, we're just gonna use a third just to see what kind of reaction we get. And we're gonna be fishing in, let's see over here. There's the water, 39 foot of water, and those are catfish. You know those spots there? That's catfish. It's all catfish right there. All right, we're ready. I like to leave a little bit of piece of tail on there. You see how it's moving?
Squirm around. Yep.
Squirm around. Give me a wet rag down there if you get a second.
Alright.
I think it kind of moved off of us a little bit, but we'll try right here. There comes my bait right there. And that's what we're going to do right there.
What you got, Ray?
Yeah, I think he's a keeper.
I think he's a keeper.
Yeah, he's a keeper. He's not a giant, but he's a keeper.
Hey, man, that's perfect size, huh?
Yes, it is. That's a great size.
What size are you looking for when filleting them up?
That or a little bit bigger. You know,
Okay.
that to me, that's your perfect size right there.
All right, start the day out right. Sun's not even up.
Second cast.
Yeah.
What I like about these, this size right here, is that when you fillet them, you have very little bloodline.
Smaller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A nice fillet, not much bloodline at all.
Another one. Nope.
There you go. Oh, a little bit bigger. Got one, Keith? Bring him up, bud.
Good size, Tom.
Let's see what you got. Ooh, man, you should have told me to get the net. Oh, no. Oh, I see him, Keith. Yeah, a little better. Oh, yeah, much nicer fish.
There we go. All right.
Whoa.
What we're looking for right there.
Yeah, that's pretty.
All right, so just a quick move to another little bend.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's it. That's cool. Like that. Yeah, buddy.
All right. All right.
Look at him following him.
That's on.
Look at him. Look, they're coming up to look.
Look, see what's going on, huh?
Yeah. Oh, this is a much better fish.
Need a net?
I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's see.
There we go.
Oh yeah, we need a net for that one. That's some better fish under us right now. Much better fish. Ready? Oh, okay.
Get him out before he gets stuck.
Yeah, come on over here. Yeah, buddy.
All right.
Oh, look, he was just barely on there too. Beautiful. Look at that. Ah, now that's
Yeah.
all right, Keith, come on. Oh.
Decent sized fish.
Oh yeah, that's a good fish, yeah, man. Certainly a keeper, that's for sure. Yeah. That's a good sized sandwich there. Look, 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 look. He's a little bit better.
There you go.
Got it, a little bit better. Look at that.
Come on in here.
Yeah. That's a good sandwich.
Mhm.
Good one. Look at, oh, look at there, Keith. Look at that. 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 Oh. Yes, sir.
Tchefuncte River, blue caps.
We'll take him.
Filling up that ice chest.
Come on, baby. Come on. That's a good one.
I got
Mine.
mine.
You got yours? Where's that? Where's that?
Right here.
Yeah, buddy, we got us a double.
Double
They're
catch.
twins, you know? Twins, but they're sandwiches. And there's the keeper too. Look at that. Look at that.
I
It's a
broke
keeper
his
fish,
rod
too.
on the hook set and
And
got him.
Oh man. So much for a new rod.
And that's why your catfish rod is a catfish rod.
God
Deal.
darn it. Look at that. That's a pretty fish.
What kind of size this one's got? Keeper.
There we go. Another keeper. You didn't break your rod.
Yeah. All right, finishing up the day here on the Tchefuncte River. Got about, I don't know, say about 30.
Probably
30
somewhere on that
catfish in
number,
there.
yeah. Threw a bunch of them back.
Yeah, yeah. Bite kind of increased as the day went on. We got a little clouds and cooled off, but you found a certain bin where they were just stacked in there.
When that overcast come, it helped us out a lot.
It did. It had some small ones mixed in there, so we had to go through some small ones, but some decent sized fish. Definitely bring them back and fillet them up. As far as the night crawlers is concerned, that's going to be your main bait. Is
Absolutely. I found that trick out, so we're going to stay with some green worms.
Yeah, that works good.
You know, it worked quite well. For the last spot we were on, you made a comment while we were fishing. Every time we dropped.
Yeah.
Every time we dropped, that last spot, we caught a fish.
Yeah.
Not necessarily big, but every time we dropped.
And also, I found about halfway through, the threading on of the night crawler did turn up more fish because I think it's just harder for them to get off of that hook.
Exactly right. Yeah, when you thread it, that's definitely the best way to go. And I like to thread it if it's alive, the worm's alive, and you leave a little 1/4 of an inch wiggling. I don't know if that helps, but it sure looks good, don't it?
I believe it does help. I've seen numerous times those catfish on live scope. It looks like they swim right up to it and you don't get a bite for a few seconds and then you get a bite.
Yeah,
so
you see that weight, the weight just kind of going off to the side, you know, and you're so tempted to set the hook hard.
Yeah. So what should we see moving forward here as far as summer? The bite kind of decreases?
The bite's going to decrease. I think they'll still be there. You know, usually this is kind of our last effort at trying to catch these fish because it's at post spawn. But from what I've been seeing so far, I think they're probably still going to be there.
Yeah, it looks like it.
You know, because they're going to get in that deeper water, and they maybe even more concentrated. You know, as it gets hotter. I'm gonna find out. You know?
Cleaning these fish up, the fillets. What you recommend? Are we doing any kind of brine or what?
Yeah, I recommend you fillet these fish and get you a big old bowl and put you about 3 or 4 teaspoons of salt water, get it all prepared, and then put your fillets in there, mix it up real good, put it in the refrigerator, forget about it for 24 hours. Take them out, clean them up. What this does is salt solution, or the brine solution if you want to call it, it purges them. You know, so you want to cut all the red meat off that you can see, but when you finish, after they've purged for that 24 hours, you're going to see how white and pretty that meat is. And when you fry them, oh my. My friend that I brought last week, he sent me a text a few days later and he said, that's the best catfish I ever had in my life.
Wow.
You know, because he said it didn't have a fishy taste at all. Not at all.
And that's the biggest problem with
and
catfish.
so when he brined it, he never did that before. So yeah, try that. It works great.
All right, well, we'll definitely do that. Well, I appreciate it, Ray.
Thank
you for a wonderful time catching catfish. A nice break from the normal sac-a-lait and bass and trout we do.
Wait, with green worms.
With green worms, that's it. Catfish with green worms.
Green worms.
Who'd have thunk it?
On live scope.